Hi guys. In this part of the tute, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the particle geometry to change over time, and we're going to actually make the material, the smoke material. And that's about it. But before we start, there's a couple of things I want to do with this scene. So let's go for it. First, just want to do a couple of things to the scene. The camera, you should be facing it of the particle system from this angle, which is kind of from the back. I've set up this scene here, but just for the purpose of the exercise, if you are where you are right now, you should be able to see the camera. If you can select that camera and delete it, and then move around till you get this perspective scene the way you want. We want something probably like, we don't want to go too close, you want to get something about, or something about there, where you can see the whole lot. You can see it moving there like that. There's a bit you can't see at the top there, so maybe I'll just zoom out just a little bit. Something like that anyway. And then when you're happy with that view, go Control C, which isn't copy in Max. It actually makes a camera of that particular view you're looking at. So as you can see now, we're looking through the camera, physical camera 01. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is down here on your timeline, just go over to your time configuration and change the length to 300. 300, the end to 300, whichever you like. It's okay. So you should have a longer time scale there to muck around with. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go for it. Okay, so select your particle effect icon. Yeah. Go over to your modify panel and re-engage particle view. So we should have something like this. Okay, so the first thing we do is we'll click on the birth here in our particle effects, and where it says amount, let's change that to about 250. 250. I always press enter, make sure it happens. Okay, so we do that. The next thing we've got to do is we're going to change the shape. So we are going to go down to the depot part of this guy, and we're going to look for a thing called shape facings. Shape facings, this guy here. So grab that guy and drop it on top of the shape node. So you see a red line, that will replace it. So now it's called shape facings. While we're at it, I can see that it's sitting underneath the force node there. So I just want to grab it and drag it up above the force. So when it's blue, drop it in between the rotation and force there, shape facings. Okay, so select the shape facings, and now we're going to change that. So let's just drag this window over there so you can see this guy here. So you can see now they've got shapes and they're kind of looking at all different angles. So if you select the shape facings and go over to the properties, and where it says look at camera option, if you select in here, you'll see our camera is looking through there like that. If we go and hit the none button here and then select the camera, you can do it whichever way you want. I'll just move it out to make it easier. Select the camera, you'll see that it now is physical camera is facing it. So when I move my time slider here, you'll see that all these guys are now facing us. So it's going to look a bit more effective. Okay. So while we're here, let's change the size and the width. Make sure it's in world space and change the units to 5. And have a look in your view over here as you're doing it. So they've got much bigger. That's the way. I'll just go and change this guy over to front view so I can see what's going on from that view as well. So you can see that's at the back of we're at the back view here, and you can see that it's the dark side is on that side because we're facing the camera. Okay, so now we have to scale these guys so they sort of get bigger at the end, disperse a bit. So we need to put a scale guy in this event. So if you look down here in your depot, you'll see that there's a scale icon right there. If you click and drag that and drop that just between underneath the shape facings, and just drop it in there. You see a little blue line appear, so there's your scale tool there, your scale node. Click on that guy, and we're going to change a few things. We need to change this bit where it says type to relative success, so that guy there. So there you go, you can see what it's done. And the scale factor, we just need to change the X at the top to give it a little bit more of a scale factor. So it goes up a little bit more. Just 0.2, so just put a 2 there, hit enter. We'll change the Y and the Z as well. And if you grab your time slider here, you can see in the back there too that it gets sort of bigger and disperses over time. Okay, so now that we've done that, I think what we've got to do now is make the material. Okay, so you need to minimize the particle view here. Okay, press M on your keyboard or go up to your material editor button. Select the material editor button. Now, I'll just make it big so you can all see it. This is stuff that I've had when I made the scene, which is kind of unnecessary. I'm just going to grab it all and hit delete. Now, it doesn't delete it, it keeps it down the bottom here in the scene materials. And if I ever want to do any more work on them, I can just drag them into the workspace in the middle here as an instance and work on it. But in this case, we're making some material, some smoke material for our particle effect. So we need to create a standard material. So usually I'll just drag it in from here, standard material in from here, and drop it on this. But for the purpose, I just want to go right down to the bottom here. And where it says sample slots, just drag that into the center here as an instance. And we go from this guy. So first double click it. We're going to call it, double click it to activate it. We're going to call it smoke. Hit enter to make it happen. And we need to plug in at the diffuse here. We need to plug in a particle, what is it called again? Particle age, this guy over here in your maps. Particle age, there's about age and about particles. Drag one of these guys in and wire it into the diffuse channel of your smoke here. And double click on the particle age. And for the purpose so we can see what's going on, I'll just minimize this for a second, put it over here. And the purpose of all this is we're going to see what's going on here. So you can see that they've got 3 different colors and the age is at different percentages. So we're going to change that with some different colors. The first slot here, we're doing this so we can see what's happening. So you can see what's actually going on with the smoke. Okay, so double click or click on the actual color node and we'll change this guy to yellow, or a yellowy color. The second one we'll change to a green, make it a bit darker, and the third one we'll change to a blue. Oops, something like that. Okay. So we should be able to see that, but we've got to change something. I'll just make sure that that's in my sample slot. Fantastic, there it is there. Okay. We will minimize the material editor, or just close it off for the second. Make sure we just select our particle guy, particle view, and we now need to put a material dynamic on our event stack here. So we need to put that just above display. So material dynamic in our depot is just here. Drag that and drag that just above your display underneath the force. Select the material dynamic, and where it says assign material at the top in the parameters, hit the none button, and you'll get this guy coming up. And this is like a little mini material editor. And if we go down to sample slots where we started it from, we could have dragged that material onto that sample slot. So we've got it there, is this smoke material here. So select it and go OK, and you'll see that the material has changed. So let's just grab my time slider here, and you'll see that we can't see any colours in it actually at this stage because I need to render it. So I'll go up here and I'll do a very quick render, and that's the kind of thing we wanted to see. You can see that the yellow is darker down there, and then it starts to go different colours at the top. Alright, but the trouble is we haven't set this up for the age yet, so that's why you can't see the 3-tone colours yet. So the reason why this is happening is because puzzles don't have a defined lifespan, so we're going to do that now in our particle view. So we need to go down into depot and get a delete node and drag that guy up and just put him underneath the birth in our stack. Select the delete node. Okay, then we need to change the delete node parameters. We need to change it to by particle age, and I've already put it in here. As you can see, I need to change the lifespan to 60 and the variation to 10. But we're going to change that because that's the default. We need to change this to 350 and the variation to 50. So you can see what's going on as I'm doing it. It's updating in the view. Let's do a quick render. Yeah, now you can see what's going on. You can see it actually going to the green. It's not quite the blue in there yet, but that's the kind of effect I wanted to see. Cool. All right. It's time to create the render. Alright, so let's just minimize our little particle system there, and let's open up our material editor. Okay. I'll open up the material editor so it's nice and big. You can see what we're doing. Come to here. Alright, so we could make up some smoke if we wanted to by a couple of noise maps. But in actual fact, there is a smoke map already made up in here for us. So, if I can find it, that is, we've got wave smoke. There we go. Just drag that into your work area here and double click on this guy. So, as you can see, we can, by clicking on the green area here, you can get the parameters up, and we can change things here. We can change the black and the white here, the colours. We can swap them around as well. So we've got 3 phases of this material. So we'll need a darker area, which will be the first slot, and then it will get the other 2 are kind of similar. We might change them around. So basically, we're going to have this node, and we're going to wire that into the color channel the first one. We then will grab a couple more. We can either copy and move them if we need to, but we can slide them in from our map picker over here, and we're going to put 3 smokes basically into our particle age here. Okay, so let's minimize our material editor here, and let's just see if we've made any changes here that we can see. Let's just do a quick render. Yeah, okay. Something's a bit wrong here though, because the black looks like it's up in the top here. Okay, so we've got to change a few things around. But we've got our material kind of set up to do that at this stage. The other thing that was weird is that it's all on squares still. We need this all to be some opacity going on here so it blends in. So we'll do that bit now. Okay, so we'll click this guy off, and we're going to so a quick render again just to show you. So these squares, we need to make this, or we'll come back and change the way the color is. It should be kind of the other way around, but we need to change all this so there's an opacity map on them. So we're going to do some more work in the material editor again. So I'll just click that off, open up the material editor. I'll open it right up so we can see what's going on. Alright, now what we need to do now is grab another particle age, because we've got to do particle ages because that's what it's all about here. Grab this particle age and put it into the opacity map channel, into this guy here. Okay, so we'll just make him all nice and clean. Right, double click on this one. Now in your maps here, grab a gradient map. Gradient, this guy here, drag it down to here, and we're going to wire this into color 1 of our particle age, our new particle age. Double click on the gradient map so the parameters open up. I'll just minimize this guy now, just so you can see what's going on. So we've got that going there like so. Oops, what am I doing? So with the parameters over here, we need to change something. The first thing we need to change is to radial, not linear. So we go like this. Okay. And things should actually change in here eventually as well. Again, I'll just do a quick render to see if anything's changed. Oop, wrong window. Okay, so we've got something going on, but it's not quite right yet. With that node selected, we'll go down into the parameters here, and we're going to change the amount here to 0.3. This is in the noise parameters, 0.3 there. We're going to change the levels to, the size to 5. Okay. And we also got to change the levels, the phase. We need to do fractal. Also, should be fractal in here. And we've got to change these levels to 10. So, size, I'll change that back to 5 because I went ass about there. So you need to have amount 0.5 of your noise, size 5, levels at 10, and that should change things a little bit for our smoke as well. We'll get there. So we've got to drag a noise map. Oops, not from there. We need to grab this guy. So we go over to our maps again and we look for a noise. Drag that in. So we're getting a bit complicated now, but don't worry, it's all going to work out. We're going to wire this guy into the color 2 channel of the gradient, the noise map here. things should be changing as well while we're doing this. Again, I'll check. Okay. So double click on the noise map. So the settings appear over here. Again, we've got to change some settings here to make it work. You can see in the picture here it's starting to change. If that, you can see it there. Alright, so double click on the noise map. Go to click on fractal, because it should be a fractal material. Then we're going to change the noise type, the levels to 10. So in here where it says 3, change them to 10. You can play around with these, but if you do this setting, it should all work out. Then we need to change the noise threshold from 1 to 0.7, so a little bit less, and the low to 0.3. 0.3. Okay, so that makes it sort of darker highlights and stuff like that. Anyway, that's all we need to do there for the moment. Let's just have a look at the preview by clicking on this guy of the noise map. That looks alright. Okay, so I'll just make this bigger again so we can see what we're doing, because now I want to double click. Okay, so I want to make copies of these two here. So yeah, if you just select that guy, hold down Control, select that guy, grab Shift and move, you'll make a copy out of that one, and I'm going to make another one. Oops. So you can see I made a copy, and I'm going to absolutely wire it into our particle age for opacity map here. Fill those two, and we'll do another one. Why not? That guy, Control, hold down Shift and drag out. We'll get the third one, and we'll put that into there. So our smoke should be starting to look a little bit more effective. Let's just see a quick render. Now we're actually talking. So I'll just click that off. So you can see that the smoke actually worked there, but we need to probably change the effects of the smoke, you know, where the dark bit is and where the lighter bit is. So we know that we can come into here and change that around. Now it looks all a bit confusing now, but basically we can do a bit more. Okay, so we need to come into the noise map here. For the color 2, so the noise map for the color 2, there's the gradient, there's the noise map in here. Double click this guy so the parameters open up. Click color 2. We're going to change the parameters here of color 2 to a value of 161 in here. 61, and that should be a little bit more of a darker grey colour. Yep, 161 in there. Oops, sorry, we'll go back there again. 161, hit enter and go OK, and that should change that one. Now we're going to have a look at the second noise map. So I'm getting myself a little bit confused here now. Gradient number 2, which is this guy. So we'll come in here and double click that one. So that opens up here as well. And we'll change. Now that is number 2, isn't it? No, it's number 3 I wanted, sorry. So that'd be this guy. This one here. We need to change this guy, yeah, number 3, into a different color here. And we need a value of 64 here, or around about something like that. So that should change to a bit darker as well. Alright, let's have a look at our smoke again. Now we're talking. I'm enjoying that. Fantastic. So if you want to, you can do a quick render of that and see what it looks like, which I will do. And that's it basically.